Hello, I'm Brian Noble, CEO of Family Policy Institute of Washington.
And I'm Brad Payne, president of FPIW Action.
A couple of disclaimers before we get started today. First and foremost, none of this video should be taken as an endorsement of the candidate, nor the candidate's endorsement of FPIW, nor FPIW Action. It's simply a public service to meet and greet the candidate. Also, this will be recorded and placed on several platforms. Brad?
All right, Dan, welcome. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm going to start with the first question, kind of a three-parter. The first one is if you would just for our audience state your name and the position you're running for, and then give us a little bit of a background or introduction on yourself, and maybe talk just a little bit about your family.
All right, I'll do that. Okay, thank you again. My name is Dan Matthews, running for Lieutenant Governor in the state of Washington. My wife, Jan, and I are lifelong residents in Washington State, born and raised in Seattle, now living in Mukilteo. When I was 5.5, my dad died of polio, leaving, well, that was 2 months before the Salk vaccine came out, leaving behind 7 children, all under 13, and a mom wondering what to do. But her faith, family, and foundations that we all know and love sustained her. Our strength is really our story is one of strength through adversity. We all graduated from college, 4 of us with advanced degrees. It was 6 boys and a girl. Our sister was an Olympic athlete, and she now lives in Israel.
Wow.
Jan and I have been married for 51 years. Just the other day, we celebrated that, and we have 4 children and their spouses, and soon 13 grandchildren. So faith and family are my top priorities. I hold a bachelor's degree in political science from the University of Puget Sound and a master's degree in public administration, specializing in urban, state, and federal governance. In college, I served as a legislative intern to a state senator, and then entered the Air Force after college, serving as a pilot. I'm a decorated Air Force veteran of 2 wars, Vietnam and Desert Storm, and I'm a retired U.S. Air Force Lieutenant Colonel with 22 years of service. I'm also a retired commercial airline pilot, having flown for Northwest Airlines, where I was a Boeing 747 captain, instructor, and examiner, retiring after 31 years with a total of 24,000 flight hours.
Wow.
Following my airline career, I became a contract pilot consultant with the Boeing Company, consulting in pilot instruction and training and leadership development for 8 years, ending with COVID. And whether it's a member of a STEM task force or through aviation conferences, I've paid it forward to young people throughout the Northwest and other states regarding aviation careers. I've mentored over 24 young people in their aviation career aspirations. And as an elected public servant and former Shoreline School Board member, I've lobbied for family, school, and education issues, particularly advocating for parents' and students' rights, with such measures as conflict of interest rules governing school administrators and employees. And on the school board, my stated mission was making a difference. I also have served on as elected to the Charter Review Commission for Snohomish County. I've been active in my church and church leadership, serving on the board. I've coached Little League Baseball, where I taught maybe 10% baseball and 90% character, and a lot of other involvements. I'm a signatory to the Manhattan Declaration and a member of the Heritage Foundation, a contributor to FPIW and the Washington Policy Center. Jan and I are founding members of the Cousteau Society, and over the years, we've quietly sheltered domestic violence victims in our home. We support domestic violence services, Housing Hope, Alliance Defending Freedom, American Law and Justice, pregnancy resource centers, and the Union Gospel Mission, where my daughter-in-law is the marketing director.
Wow.
And I've been active in Republican circles now 2 years running for Congress. So I guess I'm a community organizer of sorts, but I love people and listening to people, and I love our great country, especially the great Northwest, where Jan and I were born and raised, and where we raised our children. So that's a not so quick background on Dan Matthews.
No, that's great. So, given your extensive background, what would you say is motivating you to public service and to be a servant of the public?
Well, great question. The very thing or reason that would have constrained me from running for this or any office especially 2 years ago running for Congress, ironically, is the very thing that compelled me to file and run, and that's family. It's unmistakable. We're under attack today in Olympia and around the state, the nation, by woke virtue signaling zealots who see their role as replacing parents and family with the state and all its good intentions. And my reaction to that, I guess, is baloney and enough. From the movie Network, I'm mad as heck and I'm not going to take it anymore. So we need to stand against this spreading cancer and all and stand up for what we hold dear, because otherwise it's going to be destroyed. And so that's why I entered the race. I guess I've stepped forward to fix a broken system, because foolish and failed policies originate ultimately from politicians who have forgotten the people. They have agendas, but they're not always in the best interests of the people, particularly families. Career politicians fail us by delivering what we're used to, dictates and division and dependency, rather than statesmanship, diplomacy, and respect. And there's failure on both sides. One political party, however, has controlled our state for decades. That's unmistakable. They represent powerful big money interests, growing more imbalanced and sometimes even radically extreme. So I believe I have the experience, qualifications, leadership skills, training, and background to serve the people as lieutenant governor and bring a new era of excellence, leadership, and statesmanship to Olympia and the people of our state. My passion for people, for families, for God and country, all intertwined to drive me toward making a difference, to knowing that God has each of us here to fulfill a role and purpose for his glory. And as lieutenant governor, I see my role not as a partisan or politician, but as a bridge builder and unifier, a communicator, a team builder, which is what we did in the airplane, of course, and statesman and peacemaker. Professionally, my role has always been to safely navigate, as you could understand, to every destination, knowing people's lives depended on me, my skills, judgment, professionalism, and the crew I led. And as our lieutenant governor, my focus will remain people working together.
Excellent. That's
so,
good.
All right.
I just got to add that I'm not going to compromise on my core values and principles, so someone feels good, however, because I'm compelled by faith, hope, and love, and I'll stand for people's rights and especially our children's future, because I feel like I'm fulfilling the high calling of serving the public trust with honor and integrity and service above self. So that's my commitment to every citizen, young and old, from both parties.
All right, Dan. Specifically, legislatively speaking, one or two of your top concerns, and then what would you hope to accomplish in office in regards to those concerns?
I'm asked that all the time, and of course that's at the top of the list when you're speaking publicly, because my top priorities are, as I said, defending our families, parental and children's rights, especially in education, protecting our freedoms, remembering that government is not there for us to serve it, and it's supposed to serve us, safeguarding our future, especially in law enforcement and public safety, drugs and mental health issues, and really recapturing our humanity and direction with purpose and compassion. I aim to be a capable and loyal, sorry about the pilot reference, a wingman to our hopefully Republican governor. And the role of a wingman is straightforward. He has one primary rule: to be there, backing up the lead who sets the course and directs the mission. So I'll be there for the farmer, plowing through increasing regulations and burdensome government at every turn. I'll be there for the fisherman and the small businessman wondering if they're going to be underwater all the time. I'll be there for the entrepreneur who struggles for long hours to make their dream a reality, only to discover that government isn't the solution, it is the problem. And I'll be there for working moms and dads dumbfounded in disbelief by schools that regard them as threats and even terrorists, for goodness sakes, when their understanding was that they were entrusting their precious children to the schools to teach and not indoctrinate. And I'll be there to urge government to listen to the people and remember we are here to serve them. But really, to address in an overall global perspective every issue, we have to acknowledge we are a divided people, the state and nation. Christ warned us, Abraham Lincoln repeated it, a house divided against itself cannot stand. So we're too often polarized, at odds with one another, frequently abandoning genuine human understanding. So the division, discord, partisanship, and rancor of politics is never constructive. So it's time we change course to find common ground for the common good with common sense, I guess, to tie it all together. And we need to come together. We all remember after the tragedies like 9/11, all over, united we stand became the call. And that needs to be our rallying cry today. So that's, again, my commitment to every citizen from both parties. I'll be there leading with statesmanship and civility for every person.
Excellent. Our fourth and final question is, we provided you with our 18 issues here at FPIW Action and FPIW, ranging from individual freedom to public safety to religious liberty and so on. Any of those you want to comment on or that are highly important to you?
1 through 20, right? I love it because, again, it speaks to my priorities and it is central. But the Washington State Lieutenant Governor is second to the governor and assumes that role in his absence, incapacity or loss. So he has to be conversant with all the issues that the governor is going to head the state in. And the lieutenant governor presides over the state senate, chairs the rules committee of the Senate, and about 10 other commissions and committees, et cetera. So he is the one direct link between the executive and legislative branch of state government and becomes an invaluable source of communication and information between the two. So that is background for how I intend to address the subjects that are close to my heart. In building bridges and unifying people, I have to understand my priorities first and recognize that listening to them and their priorities, not their partisan agenda, but their heart, is where relationships will be built and will achieve a whole lot more. So with the specific issues before us, especially parental rights, individual freedom, protecting the right to life in all aspects, election integrity, homelessness, legal immigration, and really the scope and growth of government. I intend to use the office of Lieutenant Governor as a source of access and accountability to the people of Washington State. Maybe even to have a weekly broadcast and written column detailing the goals, agenda, accomplishments, both victories and defeats, affecting the citizens. This is how I intend to build bridges and faithfully serve the people as Lieutenant Governor. And I think that's an important role. Whether the governor is of the same party or not, it'll be much more challenging if not. But I intend to start from day one to be a statesman. I had a great example in my mentor, and Christ's calling for all of us to bear our witness before men, and if all else fails, use words. So that's my challenge.
Excellent.
Thank you, Dan. We appreciate your time. You've gotten in a lot of information in a short period of time. You've done a great job with that. We thank you so much for coming on, sharing your views with us. Sorry it's so short. We could, I know, expound on a whole lot of other issues, but the time is brief for our next interview. But thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. I'm Dan Matthews, running for Lieutenant Governor. Thank you all for your prayers, your interest, your support. Go to electdanmatthews.com for my website, and I'd love to hear from people, especially those who are praying for government and all those who would lead.
All right, very good. Thank you so much. Well, I'm Brad Payne with FPIW Action.
And I'm Brian Noble with FPIW. Just a simple reminder that nothing in this video is an endorsement of the candidate, nor the candidate's endorsement of FPIW, nor FPIW Action. Like we like to say around here, go out there and love your neighbor by faithfully stewarding the public square. God bless.